diagnoses to me are secondary to the real issue at hand, which is resilience is reduced. And what is resilience is our capacity to handle stress. So I look at everything through the lens of stress. Whatever behavior your child is showing, if we look at that through the lens of stress, we can see, you know, if their body is the glass and the water is stress being poured into the glass over and over and over, and which is life, right? Like life is little bits of stressors, and our bodies have this remarkable ability to handle stress. We have lots of feedback loops and mechanisms and really cool biochemistry to help us handle stress. But, you know, as that level gets higher and higher and reaches the brim, once it's at the brim, you start to get the behaviors. You start to see, oh my gosh, the stress is outweighing the capacity to handle it. And then eventually it will overflow. If you can't find and reduce those stressors and empty that glass a little bit, it will overflow. And that's when you get the diagnoses, when you're just like, wow, these behaviors have gotten to the point where they're just not going away. And then you end up, you know, going to a doctor and they're like, yeah, you fit the category of the diagnosis. But so regardless of where you are, if you're just trying to live a healthy life and manage your stress, or if you're at the brim, or if you're overflowing, our work is really to find and reduce the stressors so that our body can tolerate it.
Awesome. So what are some of the examples of stressors that are contributing to that glass or the water in that glass?
Well, another really interesting question, because when we think of stress, usually you think of like social stress, or, you know, something like you get in a fight, that's stressful, or you have an exam, that's stressful. But there's also biological stressors. So things that are going on inside the body, which is usually kind of gets chalked up to inflammation. Something is causing inflammation in the body, whether it's a parasite, or it's blood sugar instability, or it's a food sensitivity, or something like that. So there's this biological, and then there's environmental stressors as well. So chemicals, and even like too much light and color for some kids is too stressful. So we could look at all of those areas. They're all equally important. And the really interesting thing is that the body doesn't differentiate between them, right? So our stress hormone cascade is going to be the same, whether it's a biological stress, a social stress, or an environmental stress. The chemistry is the same.
Interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. So that's one of the reasons why, as a nutritionist, you know, it's important to consider what our kids are eating, because that can be a massive stressor on the body for sure. But if changing what they're eating is more socially stressful than it was before, you're swapping one stress for another stress, and you're no further ahead. So we have to figure out a way to take the stressful foods out, bring good stuff in, nourish the body, without straining the relationships, without straining the social dynamic of the family. So again, context, right? The context is so important to consider.